Good afternoon, everyone. This is our Improving Patient Care Through Data track. Are we good? Sorry. Good afternoon, everyone. This is our Improving Patient Care Through Data track. Our final session of the day will be Communication, Content, Marketing, Strategy. I'd like to introduce our presenter, Angela Snell. Angela Snell has been working as a communication specialist for the United South and Eastern Tribes for 7 years. She previously worked as a nurse at Vanderbilt University in cancer and neurosurgery research. She is currently working towards her certification as an online marketing certified professional and specializing in the development of digital media and marketing strategies. Angela, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Philip. So next time I need to do the voiceover, right? I need to get Philip on board here. That's like radio, attack sickness over there. So hi, nice to meet everybody. Hello to virtual attendees that are joining. And Michelle is moderating that room. So thank you, Michelle. And introduce yourself online so we know who you are. We want to make sure that we're interacting with you and don't want virtual people to feel left out today. So content marketing strategy, this is just going to be a hodgepodge of things, I should say. There's a lot involved. There's some things I'm not going to cover, like search engine optimization. You're welcome. We're not going to talk about SEO. That is boring. But we will talk about social media. We will talk about, if you've been in any of my presentations over the years, you've always heard me talk about targeting your audience. But we're going to do that in a different way today that may be something you hadn't thought about, because I know like that, okay, I know I need to target my audience. Like, I get it, but we're going to try a different approach with that. And I've got some case studies in there that might inspire you and hopefully break up the monotony, because this isn't the most exciting topic on the planet, but we're going to do our best at entertaining and keeping you awake after that wonderful lunch we just had. And I'm very informal, so at any point, virtual, in person, you have a question, please either write it in the chat, raise your hand, and we will address it as we go. Cool? All right, I don't think I have a clicker, so Philip, will you be our Vanna White today? Thank you. For those of you who are young, Vanna White is on Little Fortune, and she used to manually turn letters, but now she pushes a button and the letters turn. So that's what that reference is. I'm learning that I have to explain things that I thought everyone knew. Because I am now old. Content Marketing Institute defines the definition of content marketing as, there's a lot of keywords in there, a strategic marketing approach focused on creating and distributing valuable, relevant, consistent content to attract and retain a clearly defined audience and ultimately to drive profitable customer action. So throughout the presentation, you're going to see, we're going to talk about customers, you'll see profit, you'll see patient. For most of the world, content marketing is really driven towards companies, but it is valuable in public health. And so I'm going to do my best to try and spin some of this terminology in a public health way. So, but if something just doesn't make sense, well, how does that apply to me? Please ask and we'll address it. And you know, content is the base of everything. I sometimes feel like, I know in my world, I get really focused on design and maybe so much content. And a lot of times we think content, we kind of make it for everybody, but we'll design it differently on our audience. And so I think sometimes we need to focus, maybe let's go back to the drawing board on our content and really think through, we need different content for different people so that we get our message through. Another quote you may have heard from me in the past is communication is not dissemination. Communication is getting through. So if all we're doing is disseminating information, that's a one-way, that's a flyer in the mail that I put right in my recycle bin, I didn't look at it. That's not communication. Communication is a two-way, they got the message, we got through, we're working together. And that's the basis of this content we're going to be talking about today, is We want people to read your content. There's nothing worse than when Vicki and I make something, we spend hours, weeks, months, and we put it out there, and then it doesn't get used, and we just, oh, so defeating. So we want you to not ever have that feeling, right? We want you to feel like, yay, everyone loves our content. Next slide, please, thank you. So building trust. And I'm going to use CDC in some of my examples here as we talk about trust. CDC used to be, by all of the world, a very trusted organization, right? Unfortunately, that is not the case anymore. And from my perspective, one of their mistakes they did when the pandemic hit was not messaging about their message. They should have, my message is going to change a lot. My message is going to have different recommendations, maybe day by day, because that's how science works. Science is constantly learning new things. We used to think the world was flat. Okay? Well, we changed our minds based on science. Does that mean that it's so, you see what I'm saying? So we always need to really work on building our trust, because now it's very difficult to quote the CDC to some people because they've already, that trust is gone. So how do we build trust with our content? Relevant content if you understand your customer journey. So this is one of my favorite things that I think about all the time when we're messaging our content. You need to have content at every different stage. Now, this is for a product, but this is also about your public health message. So I'm going to use the stress. It's lovely. So I was aware of this, of a dress that was a white eyelet dress, and I really liked it. I saw it on someone else. So I was aware that there was a dress like this out there. Then I started considering, I wonder if that was looking at me. Well, I really want to consider this dress. So then I started researching and looking for a dress like this. And then I started comparing prices in stores. So I was in this consideration phase. And then obviously I bought it, right? So I have the purchase decision. Retention. I got this from Ann Taylor. Now, Ann Taylor's kind of pricey, but every couple months they have a 60% off sale. And I got this message about a 60% off sale, and that's actually when I bought the dress. And now they've retained me. They have my email from when I made my purchase, and I advocate because I get asked all the time about this dress. So now I'm in the advocacy phase. Okay, so think about maybe your clinic. Are people aware of your services? Think of a specific service. Somebody gives me a service, a program within their clinic.
Domestic violence.
What?
Domestic violence.
Domestic violence. So you have a domestic violence program?
In the clinic, yes.
In the clinic, okay. So is there awareness within your community about that?
Some,
Okay.
probably not as ideal as it should be, but some.
So maybe that's where we start. All of our content for you is going to be making people aware of the program. We want to build awareness. Okay. Someone else. There's no wrong answer. I won't bite you. Chiropractor. Okay. So people may be aware that you have a chiropractor. There's probably lots of chiropractors in your area, right? So you may have some people weighing their options. Why should they choose your chiropractor? Because it's free. Whoa, winner, chicken dinner. I'm going to that chiropractor, right? So that's going to obviously get you in that decision. How's your retention rate?
Good, because we had to up this contract for more hours.
Oh, that's great. So you've already built retention, so you now are in advocacy phase. So you can probably use some of those clients to help advocate even further for your services and to grow that program even further. Are you with me? That makes sense? So not every piece of content, I mean, we don't really need to work on retention for domestic violence, we're not there yet, right? We may not even be in the why choose this phase, we're in the we're here phase, okay? So that's how you build your message. So elements of trust, personalization, recurrence, and accumulation. So personalization, tailoring it to the individual, make sure it looks like you. One thing that I would really strongly, if you pull something from the CDC and you want to use that, that's fine. But maybe jazz it up with colors that your community responds to. Maybe jazz it up with your logo on there so that it looks and feels more like it's coming from you. That makes sense? So personalize your information. Branding, and we're really still working on this at USET. We're getting better. When Vicki French and I got pulled into the development department to do communication for the whole organization, that was our very first mission, was branding. We're still, it's not easy. You know, we were delivered a color palette that we did not pick. And I'm fighting every day for that color. Because you saw the balloons, guess what our colors are? Black, red, and yellow. No. No, like McDonald's. So anyhow, we're working on that. But we want to make sure our stylizing, that when you get something from us, it looks like, oh, that's what you said, right? Work on that for yourselves as well. All of the material you do, whether it's using the same sort of colors or imagery, making sure your logo is there, that your branding is on point, that when they get something from you, whether it looks and feels and sounds like you. Cool. Can they not hear me? I'm so loud. Wait, thank you, Mark Withers in the room. All right, fingers crossed, virtual people, I hope all is well. And virtual land, if you have trouble, please let us know, we want to fix it. Recurrence, so branding is about repetition, like I said, every time, right? Black, red, and blue. So what do you see in best practices? You see yellow, you see black, you see red, yeah? Our branding. And the more often they have a valuable experience with you, the more likely they're going to return to you. And the more likely that they get something from you that feels good, feels, positive, they're going to keep reading and keep coming back to you. Now, I will say, with recurrence, don't be sending flyers all the time. We're going to be wearing campaign season. I cannot tell you how many campaign flyers I got that would in the recycle bin every day, just filling up our mailbox. So we've still got to be strategic in your recurrence rate. Don't become white noise. Okay. And then accumulation is that on a compounded level with all of these things, with the personalization, with the recurrence, and it all accumulates into one nice, lovely, trust building opportunity, right? So think about, I think with my provider, I've got the best primary care provider on the planet. And the day that she retires, I will cry. We're getting close, y'all. I know every time I visit, I'm like, are you taking care of yourself? She's wonderful because we have a great relationship. Personally, I walk in and she remembers our last visit. She knows who I am. We talk about Vanderbilt, my nurse that you made. That's lovely. How many times you walk into a medical care provider and they're like, what's wrong? She actually engages with me. She spends time with me. And that recurrence, it happens every time. She is there. She's almost always punctual. And she makes me feel like she's all the time in the world for me. And that is compounding for me a wonderful trust. I trust her. because it's consistent, personalized, it's accumulated over time. That's how you building trust. I know you're like, I wish my providers were here to hear this. I know. It's recorded, so you can make them watch this. Effective content marketers. So you can build trust only if you put the need of the patient first. And effective content marketers put the customer at the core. So customer, patient, however we want to frame that. One, understand your patient needs and segregate them into segments. So you got your little pie chart, and you can do this on various ways. A lot of times we just do it by age, but I'm telling you that's not enough. Think about what that, because I've got a nephew, he'll be amazed, he's 20 years old. I want you to guess his favorite kind of music. And for those of you who know my nephew, 20 years old, he lives in Louisiana, he's in college. Jazz. Jazz. Yes, ma'am. Jazz. He's a jazz trumpet player. Phenomenal. He will listen to jazz all day long. Okay. His values is music. Number one, that's his heart and soul. Second love is jazz. Third love is his friends. Family's not fourth. The Xbox, I think, is fourth. I'm down here at the bottom somewhere until he needs money. And then I come back up. So really think about, what do your people value? So you may have someone, a value system, you're gonna have a program built around children. So are we thinking just of parents? Are you thinking about grandparents? I don't have children, but my nephew is like my baby. And he is my value system. Don't leave me out, right? So how often when we're developing a program for children that we don't think about that whole extended family, that we're invested in that one child. Demographics is important if you want to focus on a certain community within your tribal nation, but also think on their behaviors of no-show appointments. That's something you can do too, is look at who your no-shows are, and is there a commonality there that you can really branch into and target within that no-show audience, and maybe retrain your content back to, maybe they're still in that consideration stage and they're no-showing because they're not getting into that decision phase. So we need to do some consideration content based on maybe a demographic within that no-show that you can get a majority of your people in their value system. Okay. So this is where I'm talking about targeting your audience. Maybe something you haven't done before. This is something when, we have more communication people that we can take the time to do this. Creating personas. I love this, and I really want to do this so bad, but also for our employees. So when you think about retention, retaining your employees in the public health system, that's hard. So you can have a customer persona even for your doctors, for your nurses, for your coding and billing staff, for your medical receptionists, because if you just do one piece of content for all of your employees, it's just going to hit one point, right? So here at USET, just within THPS, we got a huge different levels of staffing. But for me, we have our Office of Environmental Resource Management staff. I got a climate change scientist. I have water and wastewater operators. I have directors. I have administrative assistants. Then in public health land, I got all the public health employees all legit combined. Then I've got accounting staff. I've got our executive director, and let me tell you, that guy is his own customer persona. So I want to build a customer persona for Gabby. It wasn't that fun. But I want to build a customer persona for each of our employees in those grouping to help our employee resource management department when they're issuing messages that will really target appropriately and help retain our employees. It's a hard world out there. It's different than what I grew up in. I grew up in a world where, I mean, I came to USET in 1997. Yes, I did. And I stayed for a couple of years. I went off to think that I was going to do something else because that's what I went to school for. Found out I did not like it. And I was broke and I like to eat. So USET called and said, would you come back? I'm like, yes, because I'm hungry. So I came running back and I stayed at USET for 7 years. And USET allowed me the opportunity to keep trying new things and growing. And that's when I was going into health clinics. I'm like, I love this health stuff. This is fantastic. And they, well, have you thought of nursing school? But I did. So I left again, went to nursing school, and I was gone for 9 years. And USET called again. I know they keep asking me back. There's a problem, not me. And I said yes to a health communication specialist position. And I've been back 7, 8 years since. And I don't plan on going away this time. I'm in the carpet, not getting me out. But I talk to a lot of young people, and they probably every 2 years are going to different jobs. Where when I was young and you looked at a resume like that, you'd be like, what is this? There's a problem here. Because why are you leaving so much? But that's not the case anymore. And so now employees are really having to work hard to retain their employees. So I know a lot of us were thinking about our audience as our community, but also frame this as an audience as your staff. If you've got some good people, how can we frame our customer persona for our staff? So I'm going to say a customer persona is we have a health director. What's a typical background of a health director? Did they go to school? Sometimes, okay. But a master's level isn't necessarily required, right? So we're probably somewhere from high school, college, okay? What are their goals, you think? What's driving them in their job? What are they tasked to do? They're mission oriented. Elevate health. There's probably some budget stuff in there. Because they got tribal leaders. Kind of breathing on the neck a little bit. There's some money stuff. And hiring. Yeah. Okay, so, but they're also, like Gabby said, mission oriented. So what our content, do we need to write a novel for them? No.
Want you to read it?
Yes. So short, brief, your most important message at the top. That's how we're going to reach them, right? If you give them a big flat, and it doesn't need to be super pretty. Don't be wasting your time on a lot of graphic design for your health directors. They don't care. Bullet point and email, black and white, good. Thank you, Jesus. Right? Now, maybe for our nurses, a little fluff, not so bad. Make it a little aesthetically pleasing, would be nice. Because I will tell you, when I was in nursing, it was really funny to go from nursing to here, where I have to write full sentences. Because in nursing, we don't write full sentences. Everything's abbreviated and, and very black and white. And so I would appreciate sometimes when I would see something that was a little prettier than just my computer screen and black and white stuff. And then thinking about our community, sometimes our content is a little overwhelming and we need to bring it down a couple more notches than we thought we originally did. Really break it down. But what we forget sometimes is to add in the value, and we'll get into that a little bit of your content. Hey, we're having this event on this day at this time, we have an incentive. Right? That's pretty much, but we don't go into what is the value to them. So we'll get into that. So turn your journey, your patient journey into stages. And this is important. This is a right content at the right stage. We kind of already hit this, but that's a big content marketing quote. If you ever take a class, they're going to say that 20 million times. right content at the right time. Thank you, Philip. All right. So a good content marketer is going to create a strategy that supports their objectives. It's possible for patients to experience that content, turn it into personalized stories. That's probably one of the biggest driving things I'd like you to take home today. And evaluate. So if any evaluators listening, you're welcome. Want to evaluate how you do it. So supporting your business objectives. There's 5 usually goals. You don't want to do all these. You just want to pick one. Brand awareness. Let's talk about that. Brand loyalty. Okay, that's a goal. We want people to be loyal to your program. Education. We want to make sure that that they're getting educated with your content, engaging with your content, and then recruiting. Recruiting patients, recruiting employees. These are various goals. And so think about before you're writing your content, what's my goal? What's my goal? Who am I talking to? And where are we in that journey? And that will help you before you do anything else and having a great content. Touch points. So where are we going to put this content? We need as many touch points as possible for your patients, for your employees to find it. So just a little thing about USET, our employee resource and personnel recruitment. I get that ERPM. Very crazy acronym, but that's our HR firm. And every Monday, they release a newsletter to us that they call the Weekly Smoke Signal. Executive Director WSS. I had to figure out what that acronym was from day one. I need this in WSS. I'm like, what is that? Weekly Smoke Signal. So it's a newsletter. If you don't read that newsletter, that's it. The only place you're going to find that information. And a little tidbit thing, we can tell who opened it. However, it would probably be nice if we had other touch points. Okay, so if you do videos, some people do. We talked a little bit. You heard us maybe earlier talking about the Powtoon animated cartoons, but social media through community management, through blogs is kind of an alternative on your website. You could do press releases, print campaigns. Some people do billboards, but various different ways. You have an app that people can find your information, find your content.
What's SEO?
SEO is a search engine optimization that I promise.
Oh, okay, you said that.
Yeah, we're gonna leave that one.
I have a question.
So turning content into personalized stories. Here is a great example. We sell glasses cheaper than other companies. Okay, that's not a bad message, but how is this message? Every idea starts with a problem. Ours was simple. Glasses are too expensive. We were students when one of us lost his glasses on a backpacking trip. The cost of replacing them was so high that he spent the first semester of grad school without them, squinting and complaining. We don't recommend this. The rest of us had similar experiences, and we were amazed at how hard it was to find a pair of great frames that didn't leave our wallets bare. Where were the options? Warburg Park ad. Not a bad ad, right? That to me is more interesting. You know their mission, why they do what they do. Very interesting, and a lot better than, well, we sell cheap glasses. Well, that's great. I know I can get cheap glasses and then they're gonna break it tomorrow, right? This, okay, let me learn more about brand awareness. Let me learn more about this. More interested in that. So this is a personalized story, taking a message and just driving it home in a different way. Evaluate your content. So again, these are very product-based. revenue, awareness, loyal retention. So for revenue, obviously you're looking at sales, subscription attendance. For awareness, you're looking at for your website page views, activity within your social media, and even you can look at activity within your programs, you know, who's showing up. And loyalty, retention, repeat patients, not having to no shows, having a low employee turnover, commitment, engagement. That's more than just viewing. That's liking, sharing, retweeting, making comments. And leads, these are new patients, new hires, increased applications, maybe for various things you're doing. So those are just different ways you can evaluate if your content's working. So here's a cool case study about Dell in Germany. How many are familiar with the company Dell? I don't want to make assumptions. Okay, everybody. It's a multinational American company, and they're probably in Germany, people thought of Dell just as an American company that sells laptops, and they wanted to be more than that. Philip. So to change the customer's perspective, they decided they wanted to promote themselves as a corporate IT solutions company in Germany. And they wanted to generate 12,000 leads among skeptical business-to-business audience. So their audiences were other businesses, okay? They're a business talking to other businesses. They launched a 16-episode video sitcom on YouTube about day-to-day stories and struggles of IT administrators. And these were comical type of things. Why did they choose IT administrators? They did their homework, they did some research, and realized that IT decision makers, that they were looking for the IT administrators so that they would embrace the Dell brand and make it more of an enterprise solutions provider. So, so they did some targeted research to figure out who's going to make this decision, and then that's who they targeted. Okay. So the videos directed IT administrators to their own community page on Tumblr, where they could then create memes and share stories of the dumbest assumable user in their company. So it was a really kind of funny thing. And it was a way to like bring humor in, because I can only imagine the stories some of our IT administrators have with user error, right? And so they took that, and so they developed a custom dumbest assumable user generator and turned them into stories for shareable GIFs. Does everyone know what a GIF is? It's okay if you don't, there's no judging here. Our executive director doesn't know. Okay, I'm not kidding. Don't ever assume. So a GIF is a short little video, okay, that's on a loop. It's like maybe 10 seconds long. You'll see these on social media, and you can text them to people. If you've ever gotten a text of somebody, you have a little funny video or something, that's usually a GIF. Okay. Build a community, their outcome, they built a community of more than 200,000 returning customers. They created and shared around 650 of those experiences and 220 memes, free publicity for them, and they generated 15,000 leads. Pretty cool, not bad. So what they did successfully, one, who's their target audience? Who was going to be the decision maker? What would attract these decision makers? What would be engaging? How can we bring these people in and then make them want to share it? Bam. Now, those are big numbers. If you ever got numbers like that, I'd be like, I mean, if we get 100, I'm like, woo! So, I mean, Dell's huge though, right? They're a national, worldwide organization. You know, I'm gonna go to Germany and try and promote USET. That's not gonna work very well for us. So don't be like, I know like these numbers are huge. You just have to figure out what a good number is for you, right? And it's, so no one has to get 200,000 leads here. Just wanted to make sure you felt good about that. Okay. So our marketing strategy. It is critical in establishing an online presence. And it's got to fit in with your own existing marketing strategy. So if you have your own marketing team, if you do, great, I'm jealous. If you have your own PR team, great, but you've got to work with them to make sure that, because they probably have their roles and their own things they're working on, and you want to make sure you align with them so that you're not drowned out by something they're working on also. Ensure these following concerns are, what does the customer need? What they need, you're going to address. So a lot of times in my world, people come to me with really shiny objects. We saw this thing, and I'm going to use an example. TikTok. One more person comes up to me and asks me for a TikTok USET channel, I might lose my mind. Any idea why? What is TikTok? Videos. A lot of them. You know how long it takes to generate those things? You know how many videos you need a week to be like good on TikTok? Like you probably need to do 3 videos a week to become relevant on TikTok. I ain't got time for that. You got time for that? Who's gonna help me with that? So I'm like, you gonna do it? You wanna get, I can't get programs out to give me 1 social media post a month. You said I was like asking for them to like get dressed for the problem. You want me to have a TikTok channel? No, no, absolutely not. And does that address our customer needs? Do you need us to have a TikTok channel? I will change my mind right now if you tell me, Shayla, USET needs TikTok channel. And, okay, thank you very much. See, all right, noted, staff. Okay. Are we going to meet our customers' needs through that strategy? No. Where am I going to meet my customer needs? Anyone here follow USET on social media? Okay. What platforms?
Facebook.
Facebook?
Uh-huh.
Facebook. Okay. Where do you think we spend the most of our time? Facebook. Because that's where we're meeting our customers' needs. So a lot of times people come to you and we're like, ooh, we should have a TikTok channel. And you'd be like, And it's great to think of like a fun campaign, sure. But is that campaign gonna end? Yes, then what do you do? Okay, so you gotta think long-term sometimes about your needs. How well do you know your target audience? This is important. We did a communication assessment with 3 tribal nations, and I guarantee you, we learned a whole lot about them. Here's one example. We went to this one tribe. Everyone thought that the elders and the senior center people weren't on social media. Didn't use it. That was the assumption. So we go there, we have focus groups to find out, how are you hearing about the clinic? How are you learning about the programs? You know, what's getting through? That's a question to ask your patients. How are you hearing about us? What are you learning about us? How did you hear about this program? Are you reading, like, here's another one, people had billboards, the tribe had billboards. So we asked, we did a little quiz. Pick which one of these is not a billboard sign, okay? So for the first question, the senior center focus group, 90% of senior centers were on Facebook. They use Facebook. So we did a focus group with the general population. Most of them also use Facebook. Here was the question. Who follows the health clinic on Facebook? Senior center, all of them. General population, 10%. So who were they getting through on Facebook and social media? Your seniors, but they weren't marketing to them. The billboards, maybe 10% of the people got that question right. Why? The billboards hardly ever changed. And it just became white noise and nobody was reading. How well do you know your target audience? How are they hearing about you? Are you getting it? What's your outcome? What do you want to happen from this campaign, from your content, from your marketing? Okay. How will it affect other programs? Well, if your domestic violence program, if there's a big awareness about it, will it impact other programs? Where does your domestic violence program sit in the location wise?
In the clinic,
It's in the clinic.
yes.
So more people are gonna come to the clinic for that. If there's good brand awareness and that builds. So other programs within the clinic might get some other awareness if they come to you for that. So as you build your awareness and your other, you may affect other programs, you might want to start looping them in and having, if there's some partnerships that you can do. What are your key deliverables and milestones that you want to achieve? And that's important for evaluation. How many people read it? How many people liked it if you did it on Facebook or social media? How many people commented? How many retweeted? How many showed up? Things like that. What's your time frame? How fast do you want to have some sort of response? And are there any risk involved? There's a lot of concerns on social media, and I get it. You can turn your comments off, but I strongly advise you not to. I strongly advise you to turn a negative comment to a positive experience by saying, we are so sorry that you were disappointed with blah, blah, blah. Please instant message me and we'll have a private conversation to fix this. Relationship trust, okay? It's awkward, it's uncomfortable, but sometimes what you see as a risk can be turned into a positive trust building experience. Learn your audience by listening. Find out, what are people watching? What are they into? What articles are they looking at? Oh my gosh, y'all, when I was in cancer research, I cannot tell you how many patients came with like binders of articles and information that they had researched. Thank you, Google, for terrifying my poor patients with all, because do you think they pulled up the good stuff? No, the worst possible scenarios ever, thank you. But I would look, so WebMD, that was a big one. So I was always looking at what WebMD was releasing and saying so that I can be prepared, okay? So I was always aware of what my patients were reading and looking at. Looking at photos, if you do have Instagram or Facebook, and you can see what community members are posting and, get a good understanding of what your people are valuing. If you listen to podcasts, if your community does podcasts or doesn't consider, I know it's a lot of work, it's something I'm begging USET to do, is some podcasts. Hang with me, young people, we're gonna get there. But yes, we want podcasts. But what are they listening to? What podcasts are they following? It's important, so it helps you really learn about them and understand what they value so that you can target them appropriately. Create the customer personas that we just talked about. I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time here, but it's basically a semi-fictional representation of your ideal patient customer, right? And you can get really stuck in the weeds here. Well, yeah, but they could this, and yeah, they could that. Okay, don't get too, make it super general and just break it down. And, and you're gonna have different characters for different value systems. And yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. I could stay here forever. You need to weave your mission and your vision into your story. That is part of your brand, okay? What? Because they're a strength community. Very simple. United South Nation Tribes. Because they're a strength community. That is our value, that is our mission, our vision that drives everything we do. We were started with 4 federally recognized tribes in 1969. Because they're a strength and unity, they came together to try and make that impact. So you will see that just about everywhere we go, because they're a strength and unity. What's your mission? What's your vision? Drive it home. Okay? Focus on what makes you unique and special and exciting. What's great about that chiropractic, Shayla? You know, what makes that person special? And then what are the twists and turns? You have a personal story, a patient story. And so I'll share the story when I was, at one point in time, I was a plastic surgical nurse, okay? Everyone automatically goes to cosmetics. No, plastics, which is wound care and moving skin around, okay? That's not, it wasn't a cute side. And I had a patient, I know, everyone's like, oh, plastics. No, I've had no work done, obviously. But, so plastics and the wound care, one of the not smoking was just critical for our patients. And a lot of people only got the message of you need to stop smoking in order for your skin graft to take, but they didn't get the why. And then this one patient just broke my heart that I got to know over time. He'd come in for surgery because he had a gunshot wound to the face. And he had a skin graft, and I saw him immediately post-op. And I could smell before I even walked into the room the cigarette smoke, right? And I'm like, it is really important for you to not smoke for the skin graft to take. Okay. He comes back about a week later, and it is not taking, and it is a mess. And he is crying. He is brokenhearted. And I don't blame him. This was horrific. And it meant that he was going to have another skin graft surgery, which is not fun, guys. It's a really painful surgery. So I just sat down with him and I held his hand. And it just like dawned on me. I said, has anyone explained to you how cigarette smoking is affecting your skin graft? No. Okay. Do you mind? Are you open to me talking to you about this? Yes. Your capillaries, which are tiny, 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 tiny blood vessels, is what's building up in that skin graft. And it needs those capillaries to fill that blood and to fill that skin so that it will heal and take. When you smoke, it restricts even your capillaries. And it also reduces the oxygen in you. So now you don't have good oxygen in your blood trying to get through these tiny, tiny, tiny capillaries to heal this. He was like, oh. He quit smoking that day. He came back, he had a patch, he had gum. And yes, nicotine has some restrictive, but it's way better than the way he was. I mean, y'all, he was a chain smoker. And that second surgery was successful. So that's a really great twist and turn story to tell someone, a provider, about why just saying you can't smoke. You gotta go the extra mile. Bumps in the road, look, there is no perfect organization out there, and we do not do things perfect. There are going to be bumps in the road, and how you address those will build that trust and that credibility. So I was talking about that social media. When you get a negative content, don't freak out. A comment, don't freak out. It's okay. We all are going to get them. There is not a company in the world that's 100% positive. Not there. How you address that, you can build in your story. Right? Like even that story that I just told is a great story for plastic surgery. We did have a successful outcome thanks to a wonderful nurse. Right? So that's, that's how you can address this. Social media strategy, this could be a whole nother, we've done it, hour-and-a-half class, and I could spend a whole lot of time here, but you do need to think about your content and the right platform. Not every piece of content needs to be exactly the same on every piece of platform. Time's hard. We use Hootsuite, which is a wonderful social media scheduling calendar platform that will post for us in the future. Because you may see today there have been a social media post. I did do Instagram. We'll go, that's a whole other thing. But Facebook, it's an Instagram special, and you have to manually do it. But Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, we have those scheduled. Those are just gone, right? And there's just me and Vicky. There's just two of us running the show. It's a good looking show, just two of us, just saying. And we have, for time's sake, our content pretty much looks the same across the board. What you see on Facebook, you're gonna see on Instagram. I would not like it to be that way. When we were able to hire more staff, so we can actually get more personalized with it, but that's what you do, what you can manage, right? In the listening stage, you've learned which channels they're looking at, right? So for this one tribe in Florida, when we did their communication assessment, I mean, they were almost exclusively Instagram. So we were like, don't waste your time with other platforms. All of your people are on Instagram. It was fascinating. I don't know, but they loved it. That was their thing. Oh, great. So that was a good time saver for them. So as you learn, you can learn more about where you want to focus your time. And make sure it's synchronized across the board. So yes, right now all of ours look the same, but when they don't, when we have the time to really personalize our content, we still want to make sure that message is consistent across all platforms, okay? The hardest thing is staying up to date with those latest features and trends. That was the other thing, like, I got enough platforms to worry about, I don't need another one, thank you, TikTok. But there will be something else. There's gonna be something new and shiny that's gonna come up, and it may meet our needs, and I'm gonna have to figure it out, right? So, and age, let me tell you something, does not matter. I don't care how old you are, how young you are. Anybody can do it. Somebody had the audacity to tell me, we should hire a young person to do social media. Oh, Johnny, put that up for me. I knew how to do social media. Just because I'm almost 50 does not mean that I can't do social media. That drives me crazy. Because you know what? We have had young people come in. How you manage your personal social media is going to be very, very, very different than how you're going to manage your business social media. Two different words, right? So just because someone's young, don't be hiring them to do your social media. Do they know what they're doing? Okay? Young does not mean they can do it. You can do it. Driving traffic through your content. So for social media, you want to keep it short and simple. Really use photos. Twitter, you don't have to, but I still feel like I pay more attention to Twitter, to tweets that have photos, and that's me. And you can do little teasers. You can insert links that go to your popular pages on your website. Shocking enough, one of our most popular pages on our website is our career opportunities page. So when we're saying we have a new hire, or we're posting, we always want to make sure that's linking straight to our career opportunity page every time. Insert links into your social media to drive to your clip where people can learn more. Ask influencers to write a good post. If you have a trusted community member, so for instance, one tribe that's all about Instagram, they had a really strong, trusted employee in their wellness program. And he was just adored by everybody there. And so he one day would post about the clinic through their Instagram, and it just drew people in. So if you've got somebody that's what you call an influencer, and I'm not talking about like these people with, selling stuff, and have like 1 million followers, that may not meet your needs to really get to your target. Like, I'm thinking of this really good chiropractor who's selling lipstick or something. No, I mean, come on. So, your influencer for your program needs to match. And there might be someone out there who is a really strong advocate for domestic violence, right? Who's got a strong following, and that's their platform. And maybe that's who you reach out to say, we're starting this program, we want people to be aware, but it's your community following that influencer. That's good. If they're not, you're wasting your time. We'll keep going. So you can organically means not paid for. So you can organically increase your followers and conversions without using paid advertising. USET's about to dip their toe into some paid social media advertising. Highly nervous. First time we're doing this. But we're doing it with a purpose, and we're going to create a whole campaign around it. It is very time consuming. So if you do not want to do paid advertising, totally get it. You can do organic, you can increase it organically by optimizing your social media profiles. What that means is, in your about section, what does it say? What does it say about you? Did you leave that blank? Don't leave that information. I, a lot of times, look at the about. I want to learn more about who this person is and where are they located, how can I reach out to them, you know, or a business. Make sure you fill that out. Post evergreen content, which means like it's kind of timeless, because people will visit your page and they're going to look at things you've posted throughout the past. Focus on quality, not quantity. And we struggle with that. I can't tell you. So we have Google Alerts set up for every single tribal nation we serve, along with some other keywords like Native Americans, and these Google Alerts come in every day. There's over 100 that Vicki and I go through every day. Yes, so fun. And we try to decipher through that, what is something good to schedule in our Hootsuite for social media. And I mean, if we posted all 100, right? Oh, no, thank you. So not quantity, quality. And that will save you a lot of time. And right content for the right audience, relevant for the audience that is online, promote on all your channels. And if you have time, this is where I wish we had more time, so I understand if you don't. I wish we had more time to interact and engage with our followers. I would love to ask questions on social media and have the time to like go and do fun comments. I think you've seen some people who sell some things and they actually respond to every single comment in a really funny way. And I'm like, who has time for that? Amazing. I love it. I mean, they're really engaged with their customers. And I wish we had the time to do that, but we don't. We'd love to be able to go to our partners pages and like share their stuff and highlight, you know, other things other organizations are doing, but again, time. But that is one way that you can drive people to your social media channels and you don't have to pay for it. Content calendar. This is vitally important if you do social media, to have your 12-month calendar. If there are certain really important holidays within your tribal nation, you want to have those listed, and then you want to plan out about 2 weeks before then to make your content for that day. If you're waiting up until that day to make it, ooh, I've been there, it is stressful. There's someone like, yo, tomorrow is such and such day. Like, I'm not kidding, yesterday was Indigenous Peoples Day for the United Nations. And I got an email and I'm like, am I supposed to do something right now? And they're like, no. I'm like, oh my God, because you know, I got time. I would have done it, but it would have been stressful and it wouldn't have been cute. I'm honest. It wouldn't have been cute. So allow yourself flexibility to accommodate unexpected events like, you know, United Nations Indigenous Peoples Day is August 9th. I know that now. It's on our content calendar. Okay. And then keep a separate monthly calendar for significant events that may affect your content strategy. So if you're wanting to release something that's right before a big event with your tribal nation, not a great idea. Right? And it's going to get drowned out. No strategy consequences. Been there, done all of these. You're wasting time, you're wasting energy, you have low conversion rates, you haven't reached your people, and you've wasted money on expensive marketing. Think about those billboards. That ain't cheap, right? We've made some expensive products here within USET. I bet y'all haven't read much of them. Educational books. Steph, have you read it cover to cover?
Not covered.
Okay. So, you know, I gotta think about where we really want to put our focus so that we don't do these three things. It happens to all of us, lessons. Case study, I love this one. International Women's Day, Microsoft and National Geographic, and a few renowned adventure photographers launched an Instagram marketing campaign. Their goal, build brand awareness, specifically to encourage girls to pursue jobs in STEM. Love that idea. That's great. Yes, more of that, please. Tactics, 30 photos were posted on National Geographic's popular Instagram account. They're adventure photographers affiliated with National Geographic. They captured those photos, okay? And each photo caption featured the story, remember, stories, of a prominent female scientist or adventurer. And each photo included the same message with the same hashtags and the ads. Results, 3.5 million likes on the 30 photos. 91 million people were reached. 1,000 pieces of content generated on Instagram with the hashtag, that hashtag they created. Sometimes partnering up with people, working together, making and planning, thinking about your stories for each one, and it revolved around a day. This all revolved around the International Women's Day. So they picked a day they really wanted to like just go intense on. And they partnered with people that were well known within that community. National Geographic and photographers kind of, go hand in hand. And they just, man, they crushed it. So I like that story. And that's relatively cheap. Photos, stories, hashtags. Not too shabby. So the reasons for their success is they leveraged, Microsoft leveraged National Geographic's social media reach. They aligned their messaging and they showcased authentic stories with powerful imagery. I know that's not like, sounds so amazing. I know that is hard to do, to get that artistic imagery and those powerful stories, and you don't need 30, right? If you get 2 or 3 for one day that you're going to campaign on a special day, that's doable. So writing content, we're going to go through these really fast because we've talked about some of these. Research your product and customer, write an attention-grabbing headline. That is the hardest thing. Write persuasive copy. Make sure it's not focused on you too much, but on the value for the person. And know when to use long and short copies. So for a website, you can have a nice long article. For social media, thank you, little snippet that goes to that article on the website. Test your copy, test it, ask somebody, like that's, if you're trying to reach a 20-year-old jazz-loving nephew, someone like that, you would ask someone, how does this feel to you? What do you think it does, right? Always ask for feedback. We don't do that enough. Okay, and then, oops, that's okay. So, what you doing to me, Philip's making us all sick. All right, next slide, yeah, next one. Thank you, Philip. You're the best. So, good, compelling content involves knowing your product, knowing your market, your customers, and your competitors. That's a very much profit or driven statement. But what is your product? Your program? What is your market? Your patients? Who are your customers? Within those patients, you got a lot of them. Who are we trying to narrow down to get to? And then who are your competitors? So who are other people out there trying to take your business, Shayla? Like, what are they doing that might be taking people away from you that you need to think about? They're doing TikTok. We're gonna edit this video. We're gonna take that little section. That's awesome. To answer these 4 questions, what do you do? What is unique to you? What benefit do you deliver? And what problems does your program solve? Very important to answer in your content. What are the features? And what are the benefits from your customer's perspective? Not your perspective. What is your customer's perspective of that benefit? Right? You can't write good copy without knowing your audience, who is going to use your program, who's your target person, who would you like to have as your target audience? Sometimes we're bringing in people that we're like, but we really wish we had this other ones coming in. We always seem to drive in this group, but we really want this group, okay? And what does your typical customer look like? And what do they love about your product? So I know, like, we've had some groups that constantly come to us, and that's great. What do they love about it so much? Because we don't even have to advertise to them. We got this other outside group that we just can't seem to get in here. Would they love this stuff too? If we could get it, if we could help them understand that. So just some things to think about. Attention grabbing headlines, unique, ultra specific, urgency, and useful. The 4 U's. This is hard. This is one of the hardest things that we do, and we don't do well because I don't have time. But in our social media, to get that, the 4 U's. But if you can do that, you'll be really successful in getting people to just even start to scroll. Just start to scroll in. That's all I ask. Give me another second. On average, they leave a website within 10 to 20 seconds. That challenge is to keep them there longer, right? So you need to have a value proposition, your benefits, your features, and most importantly, we almost always forget our call to action. What do you want them to do? If it's on social media, tell them, please like this. That's what I want you to do. I want you to like this post. Just like it. Yay! Okay? Maybe that's all it is. If it's brand awareness, I just want you to like this post. Or I want you to share it. Do we tell them to share it? Tell them to share, it's okay. Share this if you like it. It's okay to have a call to action like that within your social media. Now, within your print and within your website, maybe your call to action is call us, text us, email us, show up, but have that direct. You gotta be direct, y'all. There's you can't just you have to say, we want you to email us. Don't just contact us. I mean, you can, but what do you really want them to do? And then you can evaluate that. Overcoming time and budget issue, man, we're working on this all the time for us. So focus on the most important task, rearrange your priorities, delegate when you can. Use content marketing tools. I've talked about Hootsuite for social media. Thank you, whoever invented these social media tools out there. And improve your writing speed. The more you do it, the better you'll get. I can pretty much write a social media post pretty quick now because I've been doing it over time. And even though it's cute, don't look like impressed, don't be impressed. I can write it quick and I don't be cute all the time. And then budget issues. Targeting a very specific audience. If you're trying to do a messaging for everybody, that's expensive. Update existing content. If you've done something really well in the past, it's okay to take that and revamp it. That's okay. Now, don't make it exact. Don't do copy paste. That's not what I'm saying. But take that existing content and just refresh it a little. Promote efficiently. Billboard. You got to change that a lot. Otherwise, it's no longer efficient. Quality over quantity, and remove elements that do not add value to your content. So within the USET website a few years ago, we did a whole rehaul of that website. Thank the Lord, because that old one was a mess. There was so much on there, and you couldn't find anything. So now what we do is we are always, for the items that we have control of, we remove the items that are not valuable anymore. To keep it looking fresh and clean, and that will only help you, because if you come to my website and it looks the same all the time, and I look at something at your website and the last thing posted was from 2014. Okay, no, we gotta keep it fresh. Key takeaways: content marketing is about creating and distributing valuable, relevant, consistent content. Customer persona, really spend some time thinking about that, make your little poster card, name your persona, and spend some time with it. And that will really help you with your content. Stories are your currency. If you can get some good stories, that is your moneymaker. Content calendar help you so much in planning. Your content needs to provide quality, value, and it's okay to add a little humor. Sometimes in our public health world, we're so serious all the time. Now, I don't know how to make domestic violence humorous. So you have some challenges there. But in most places, we can add some humor, the 4 U's for your headlines, pages with a clear value proposition. What is it in, what am I gonna get out of this? What's in it for me? Will hold your audience's attention longer. And I did it! Woo! Any questions at all? Any questions from our virtual people? Please type in the chat if you have any questions. And you've got my the email address. This is also, if you go to our attendee website, which is our virtual platform, and you click on this session, scroll down the bottom, documents, this presentation is there, so you can have it. And this video will be available 1 hour after we hit the stop button, and you can have the video on our attendee website as well. And our plan is that all the videos from all the sessions this week will go on our YouTube channel under Best Practices 2022. It's gonna take a little time for that to happen. So give me a month, but on the attendee website, they'll be there for 3 months. Gabby.
What about your lovely app? Will the videos be on there? Because I checked today and I was trying to find one yesterday.
Click on, go to more. Right now, are you here? The more button. So I've got my own phone.
Okay, go to more.
Because I was wondering that myself, Abby. So everyone, our app and our virtual platform are brand spanking new. We just designed these. So we're sort of learning as we go here as well.
More just goes to Tuesday's agenda.
Okay, I'm gonna click on schedule. This is the way it worked in attendee website. Let's look at Native Brilliance and see what happens and scroll down. Apparently they are not available in the app. So you'll have to go to the attendee website, which kind of makes sense. I don't know if I want to watch a whole hour-long video. I know, look, that's where I'm old. Like my nephew and his phone in bed watching all the YouTube things all the time.
I was thinking podcasts, you know,
We're getting there. We're gonna get there with podcasts, I promise.
where I just listen to it in my ears and I don't have to look at the phone.
Yeah.
There.
And we are also taking, we're having feedback with our app vendor. So any recommendations or things you'd like to see, we will take those to them in our debrief as well. So we will talk about adding the on-demand videos to the app, Gabby. So we'll bring that up to them.
Will there be a link to the new USET TikTok?
Yes, it's, I believe it's USET, not ever. No, thank you guys so much for attending today. I really appreciate your time and for choosing this very difficult, very dry topic today. If you ever have any questions, if you're starting a marketing campaign and would like just to talk through something, Vicki and I both would love to assist you with that. We love brainstorming. It's one of the things we don't get to do enough. So we're here for you anytime. Thank you.